Okay, so I have here a song by the band called The Album Leaf. This is a song called 2214. And The Album Leaf, if you don't know them, does this kind of like down-tempo chill stuff. I really like it, actually. It's like pretty cool stuff. I don't really know anything about them, actually, other than their music. But I've liked it a lot. So here is the track. Let's just listen to a little bit of it. Okay, so it goes on and it gets, there are more bells and stuff come in and then drums and all that other stuff. But I want to look at just this intro thing. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to take this and I'm going to try using Ableton's internal convert. So convert harmony to new MIDI track. So what that's basically going to do is try to figure out the notes for me. I don't know how well this is going to work, but let's give it a shot. So here we go. Okay. Now, so here's what it kicked out. So let's open this up and have a look. So I got to zoom way in here. All right. So let's pick apart these notes. Here's what we have: a G and a B. Well, let's just hear it first, actually. Let's hear what it came up with. Sounds pretty good. That didn't sound quite the same. Okay, so the first thing when you do something like this, like converting a melody to harmony, listen to it and see if everything got right. This is not an exact science. Like I can tell these two notes up here, probably not. I'm just gonna get rid of those. So let's see if we can figure out what this is. Now, first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna tidy this up a little bit, and I'm gonna get rid of some of the single notes here. Okay, so I'm gonna get rid of this A, because that's just a single note, and I'm going to say this first bar is just this G and this B, and then I have a D and an F, and I have this E. Let's get rid of that, and let's call this next chord, the F sharp is still going, another F sharp comes in, and this D is still going. Let's assume this D goes all the way to the next chord. And this one starts here. So basically, I'm just kind of nudging things around to fit in a little bit clearer way. So let's look at these first four chords first. Okay? So this is still a bit abstract. So the next thing I need to do is let's try to compact these down. And by compact these down, I mean let's get rid of octaves. So let's take this B. There's a lot of space here. So let's move this B down an octave. There we go. That looks like something I can deal with a little bit better. Let's take this F sharp and move it down an octave. Okay. That replaced the other F sharp that was there, but that's okay. Here's a B. Let's move that down an octave. Okay. So now I have some chords that I can see. I have a G and a B, a D and an F, and a B and an F sharp, and a B and a G. So the first step in figuring out what this is probably going to be to figure out what key it's in. Now, the way I would do that is I would basically draw out the key, draw out a key. Like, let's just do it. Let's take C major. There's G, A, B, C. Okay, there's all my notes in C major. Now let's see if this fits. Like, well, right away, here's an F sharp, and that doesn't fit. So it's not in C major. Let's try another one. A good guess here would be G, because it's the first, the root of the first chord we get. So let's see if G works. A, B, C. Oops. So whole step, half step, whole step, whole step, whole step, half step. So we can see that F sharp is in this key. So that's a good guess. The B and the G are both. The D is in the key, and the B is in the key, and the G is in the key. So G is a pretty good guess here. So let's assume we're in the key of G. If we are in the key of G, then this first chord is going to be a 1 chord because it's built on G and we're in the key of G. And it's going to be a major chord. I could count half steps here and tell me that that's 5 half steps, which tells me it's a major chord. Or I could just know that it's a major chord because it's the 1 chord in the key of G. Okay, so that's a 1 chord. Let's look at the next one, D and F. This one we can call, well, let's find a D or an F sharp. So here's F sharp and here's D. So those are a third apart, right? Which is good. The root is going to be the lower one. So that's D. And what number is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's a chord built on the 5. So that's going to be a 5, Roman numeral 5, which is going to be major because of the major, minor, minor, major, major. It's got to be major because of the diatonic chord progression. Now it looks like that holds through to the next bar. And then let's go here. We have a B and an F sharp. Tricky one. Because watch this. B is here. F sharp is here. Here's the 2 notes of those chords, just laid out in terms of my scale. The problem here is that they're not a third apart. They're missing a note, right? This note should be in the middle, but that's okay. A chord doesn't have to have all the notes. It can have a missing note. That happens. But we can assume what note it is because we know what key we're in. So the root of this chord must be B. So that's a third chord. That's built on 3. 1, 2, 3. The D is missing, but that's okay. We still call it a 3 chord, and it's going to be a minor 3 chord, even though there's no minor third in it. It would still be a minor 3 chord if it was in the key of, or if the chord was completed, it would be a minor chord. And it still gives us that sense of a minor chord because of the B and F being in the key of G. It's kind of like one of those weird little psychological things. So there is the opening chord progression of our song. And I think if we kept going here, we would find that repeating, just with a couple embellished notes, just to give it a little more color. All the notes, though, are going to be in key of G, with the exception of that one right there. I can see that's a C sharp. That's not in the key of G. So I would want to go back and listen to that and make sure Ableton guessed that right. And if it did guess it right, if that note is actually there, it still could be okay. It's just kind of a embellished note, just one to add a little bit of color. So there we go. There is the opening of a song. We pulled apart the chords and looked at it in terms of Roman numerals, and that's what we have. So now we can tell this is a song built on a 1-5-3 progression.